relational database architecture. And in MDM, we do match and merge according to our values which are coming in as fuzzy. So basically fuzzy match merge is what MDM is known for. Exact match, you can go ahead and do it in a regular table as well. But as it's there, we will actually go ahead and state that. Then there is centralized, which means only MDM is allowed to do CRUD operations. Your source system will stop creating new records, stop updating those records. In registry, only the IDs will be stored in MDM. So there is no point of putting the cost of MDM for going for registry. Okay. So when this coexistence is there, then we do these kind of trust scoring. But if we are doing centralized, then we'll always use this. Okay. Are we good over here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, so you got to know that how this actually gets created, right? So first, this data was being created with a row ID object of 12, right? So what will happen over here and over here? Over here, this row ID object was 12 earlier. This was all the way 4. Right? Once the match and merge happened, this got converted to 4. So over here, there won't be any data with a row ID object of 4. It will be, again, it will go ahead and create, and the row ID object will become 4 for this. And over here also, there would be a creation of 4. And this data in till 10.3 that was there. In 10.4, I think this data is getting deleted because they are stating that this actually going ahead and creating confusion for multiple people. That when they are trying to get all the data which is getting updated in base object, due to the removal of the record from over here, the record is getting deleted from MDM. So basically, this is what you will be seeing. So I'm not 100% sure right now. We have to check this thing out because Informatica was stating this when they released the 10.4 that they have updated some functionality for history table for the hub. When the data is getting merged, they might have updated this part. So that when you go ahead and take the values from over here, all this data is row ID extend. And over here, all the data is row ID object. And in history table, there would be its own primary key, which is row ID history. Over here, it would be row ID H extend.
This row ID object, right?
Yeah.
So how exactly that is generated? Is it the raw ID of the record in the table, or
Yes,
I mean,
it's the raw ID object of this
when
one.
it is created from which table? I mean, it
History
will
is
be
created
first.
base object.
Uh, no, so initially this record will be created in BO, right? So
Correct.
this raw ID object will be the raw ID of the record in BO. I mean, initially
Correct.
when it is created, then it will be populated to remaining tables, xref, BO, hist and
Correct.
sref. Okay.
This
So raw
is
ID xref would be the raw ID of the record in xref table. Raw ID xref.
correct. So this one is having this. This is having so this is the primary key. This is foreign key. This is primary key. This is foreign key, and this is primary key. This is foreign key. This is primary key.
So this raw ID object is the raw ID from in database terms only, right? Not something which is generated by MDM.
This is from MDM, which is getting generated. It's a primary key which is
Oh,
getting
it's not
generated.
the.
It's
Okay.
not
Not
primary
the.
key. Correct. It's not primary key which is
And
coming
not
from
the.
source.
And not the raw ID in the of the record in the table, right? In database terms.
That is the raw
It's
ID.
something which is generated. Sorry.
So over here, when I'm stating this, so raw ID object is internally generated by MDM.
Okay.
Raw ID xref is generated by MDM. Raw ID history is generated by MDM. Raw ID h xref is generated by MDM. The part which we are stating is primary key, which is coming from source, right? That they're unique, how they are actually trying to state the record is unique. They're actually trying to ask that particular part, right?
So suppose if I'm getting a record for a party from 4 different sources, then this
Right.
P key should be same across all the 4 sources. Is that
Does
right?
not, it's not necessary. So
Will be
my
different, right?
A,
So
B,
we have to define it.
C, and D. So in A, your registry ID plus latest date, as they were maintaining the data in SAD2 format. So that was this case for unique. In this one, they were maintaining in a different way. Registry ID was there, but that registry ID was getting created multiple times with some other ID. Let's say a product ID. They were creating with only with registry ID. They were creating with something else, and registry ID they were creating duplicate. So that was these 4 things are there. So I can take the registry ID from this one and this one as when I'm actually trying to take the data out. But can I take this thing in a different way? No, I cannot, right? So all these primary keys which are coming from source, we have another column in cross reference named as key source object, which can be exactly same from multiple source, but still our cross reference always works on key source object plus source system. Why this is actually going on? This is your candidate key in cross reference, which helps your data to get loaded, because it
This will
might,
be something which we will.
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just asking, like, so this P key source object, right? So this will be, I mean, something which is defined or kind of a
Correct.
combined key for which has
Correct.
to something should be common in all the four source systems.
It does not matter, it's common, it doesn't matter. It can be same, it can be different, it can be any value. It can be
But if it is
created from
different, then
multiple.
MDM will.
MDM actually does your match and merge according to what rule set we are defining, which doesn't care about primary key. Primary key source object is only utilized for loading the data. So when we load the data, if my primary key is same from two different source system, then do you think that if my B source system is sending the data, it will go ahead and update the C source system's record in the cross reference? No, it will go ahead. If it is not present, then it will create it. If not, then it will update its own system value record, right?
Yeah.
So primary key source object. So when we do a load, this is our regular load, which means it will consider primary key plus source system to update or to create. So the internally it goes ahead and creates a absurd query. If it is present, then go ahead and update. If not, then create. And match and merge is nowhere, you can say, linked. Currently what we talked about, there is nowhere it is linked that unless and until we have primary key source objects exact, it will go ahead and match. No. Match and merge only happens in what we define. That take this attribute, take that attribute, take that attribute, take the child attribute from this particular table, and all those things. And use a fuzzy logic or exact logic, what will be a threshold, and so on and so on. Your regular nodes will use your primary key and your source system, and there is another load which is called as load by row ID. Load by row ID is only utilized for update. It is not utilized for insert. It utilizes row ID object to be also given in the record. Now, what does that means? If you have already created that record and you know which record you need to update, even it is coming from a different source system, then let's say my system 0 was there. Let's say sales was my A source system. B, C, D are my other source system. So if there is any record which will be coming from B, C or D, I have to use a regular load. Why? Because there is no record which is created for any of these attributes, any of these source systems. So it might give you an error stating no row ID object found. But if you have to insert the data with a load by row ID, you will put blank in the primary key source so that it will go ahead and generate itself. And it will create that with your system. So normally we don't do that. That's why I didn't recommend it, or it didn't even state it. So load by row ID is only utilized for updates, where you go ahead and sends the row ID object as well and sends the data in for that particular source system. If that row ID is there and the source system is there, it will go ahead and update that particular record. So it will check row ID and also it will check source system. If my source system is there with that particular row ID object or not, if it is there, it will go ahead and directly create or merge the record over here, and it will update your base object accordingly.
In this case, in the xref table for
Yeah.
PK, I mean row ID xref, the primary key will be
Yes.
different. As you said, like
Right.
for
Correct.
syso it is different and sales it is different.
Right.
But it might be the same record. Uh,
It
I
is the
mean,
same record because we are
hmm,
stating row ID object as 4, because from these two records, my one record is getting created.
okay. Hmm.
But if I state over here as 5, let's say, and 15, and if I'll say B with 1 and 2, so my this 5 record should also be present over here. Any row ID objects which are same in the cross reference, that means all those records are clubbed into a single record and all those records are duplicate, even though few data might be changed. This is there. Okay. This is a little bit of data from one particular source system. The data is written as like this. It's a Walgreens drug. Basically, it's a product and a person as well. So you can see Walgreens and the data. So if I'll do a fuzzy match, then all this data will be having 1, 2, 3 as row ID cross-ref, but row ID object will be like this. You can see the data is different, right?
Yes.
This is my cross-reference records.
So the row ID object is one for all three, but all three records are
Different.
like considered to one single record, right?
Correct.
Basically, I think all these three records would be contributing to one single golden record.
Correct. So in my base object, this record might be the one which is coming as correct record. So this record is my base object record. This is my base object record for that particular record. Or this would be coming from this. And these all over here is sales. I can put it any other source system. So like this, these 4 person names are differently spelled, right? Over here, right? Ingrid is one person, but it's called as Ingrid Smith, Ingrid Ann Smith, and Ingrid A. Smith, right? These are one single person. George Harriman is same record, but it's B. Harriman and Bernard Harriman. So these two will go ahead and merge together because they might go ahead and create a threshold of 95 and above. Once these two are created, this might go ahead and state as manual merge. That are these two people same? Because there might be two different people. This is Bernard Harriman and this person is directly just the Harriman. So this will contain a consolidation indicator of 9. But these two will go ahead and convert into from 4 to 2. Then once the people will be going ahead and checking, okay, this person and this person is same, then they'll go ahead and merge it, else it won't. The other factor comes in with address. So if all these three people will have the same address, that means they are same person only. In single home, there won't be two person with the same name. Correct? So that's where our consolidation indicator comes into play. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for this one? This is all merely a concept that this is how MDM will work. Every single time, doesn't matter if it's something else you're working on, in some other domain you're working on. If it is Informatica MDM, this is how it will work. In ideal scenario, this is how it should work. Or I would say this must work in this particular way. If it is not happening like this, then there is something wrong with the data or the configuration. Okay, so you understood for update without workflow and state management. What happens if my pending is coming in? This is a complex one, so make sure you understand it correctly. So now when we say update with a pending, which means a workflow is there. So now what happens in this particular case? If my source system, internal source system, because when we say workflow, it always comes back to internal source system. Okay. If my internal source system record is present, then what happens is it will go ahead and create a new record. Just go ahead, copy this one. It goes ahead and creates a new record with whatever data is being updated. This will happen. Only last name was being updated to, let's say, this one. So this will go ahead and create a new record with an upstate indicator of 0, a pending record. Okay. Once the data is being approved, this will get updated over here. It will update your base object and this will get deleted. And accordingly, your new data will be created in history and cross-reference with last name updated. question, or is it clear? When it will happen? Only in the case of workflow. Yeah, go ahead.
Like just wanted to confirm, like the row number 30, that hub state would change to, I think, -1 or -9, right?
No, it will be permanently removed. So this would be something which is getting done. Okay, this is your workflow which it has created a temporary record. It's a temporary record, in which case if internal source system already exists, if it does not exist, then it's a regular one. It will go ahead, and so basically we'll see that later on after this one. Okay, if this is existing, then it will create a temporary record. Once that is being approved, this will update over here. This will get deleted, and accordingly your this data will be updated. And as history and cross-reference history creates a new data always, they will go ahead and create new data.
So since the that PQR last name record, it got updated, right? So what will happen in the
Yes.
history and the history extract table? Will that hub state indicator be changed for those
We
old
didn't
records?
change anything. Don't change a hub state indicator. That was in pending state, as I stated that if we are utilizing workflow,
Mhm.
this particular section only happens if we are utilizing a workflow, not anything else. If we are
Okay.
utilizing a workflow, then this is something which will happen in backend, that it will create a temporary record if your internal source system already exists. And then
Okay. Right. Got it.
once
Yeah,
it is
because
correct, once it is approved, this will get removed and this will get updated. If that will get rejected, this will get removed and nothing will happen on any other table. So until it is pending, even your cross-reference history will not create any new record for that temporary record. It will only update over here if this is getting updated. So when I stated earlier on this particular date, that was create state. Right now we were talking about update. So whenever there is an update, it only happens, and with the workflow, only record which will be created will be in Xref.
and it can be both, right? Like either temporary or permanent, or it will always be one temporary record would be created, and based on that, the corresponding
Correct.
record will be updated.
So let's say this particular record was not present. Right now, this record was not present, and we just updated. I'm just taking all the three. We just updated this part. So this will be created at that point. We'll wait for the pending. This will be still this. These records will not be there.
Yeah.
Right? This would be your entire thing. So these are not there. So only sales source system will be there, and your history and cross-reference history will just contain these data.
Just this. Yeah.
Correct? Now, what will happen if we go ahead and update this one to this value? It will create a new record with a hub state indicator 0, and it will see if there is a record which is there or not. If it is not there, then what will happen? If it gets promoted, it will just turn this particular indicator to hub state indicator 1, and this will be updated, and this will go over here. Even if your first name is required in your UI, as the record was already there, that's why only the value which is being updated will be sorted up or will be populated in the cross-reference table from internal source system. Okay.
Okay, but in case if like in this current scenario that you are explaining, so the sys0, that admin internal one entry would remain in the xref. It won't like kind
It
of
won't be there. Correct.
override.
Because it was not there. Correct. So this source system data was not over here. Hence it got created, and this will be created in all the areas.
Right.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah. And this is the scenario where we are talking of like this system or admin source
Yeah,
has the
this source.
highest trust record, right? I mean, trust code is highest,
Correct.
and
Because that
events or
is where
it would be a little lower.
that is where it will go ahead and update the base object. Let's say your system 0 was not having the higher trust score than this. What will happen? This will be over here in your history. This data will not be created. In cross reference, it will be created. That's what it will happen. Right?
Yeah.
Because it will get created, but it will not show up in base object.
Base objects, yeah.
If it is not shown in base object, that means the history was not there. There is no update in the base object, so history won't be created for that. But cross reference was updated, so it is over here in the cross reference. Clear?
Yeah, clear so far. Yeah.
So what happens in delete? So if you have multiple, and if I'll go ahead and get the data which is being deleted from system 0, it will go ahead and do a -1 over here, and it will not change your data in base object. So your one more entry will be created over here with this as -1. Okay. But if there was a data which is getting deleted when there was no data over here, and if we are just deleting it, then it will go over here, as well as the data will be deleted from base object. The data will be created over here as a new, because it was updated over there, and at every place the same will be reflected. This will be the scenario for -1. Okay. That is why I mentioned two different things. That in cross-reference and history cross-reference, if we had multiple source system records, then it will be from one source system, it will be 1, and from other it will be -1. But if we had only one record, then at all the places it will be -1, and we are seeing this. All the places the record will get -1. Okay.
Yeah. What is meant by like delete with 1?
Delete with -1.
No,
There is no
one.
delete with 1. I'm just putting the hub state indicator. What will be the hub state indicator if there are two records? If there are two records in base object, it will be 1. In your history, it will be 1. But in your cross reference, there will be a 1 and a -1. Because over here,
Right.
let's say there was a CRM source also that was active. So over here, it would be 1 for CRM source. Let's say the data was exactly same.
Hmm.
Okay. So this will not get updated. This will just update its last. We'll talk about that source system value as well. And the same data will be also there in history and history. So that will be the case. So cross reference is having 1 and -1 both for that particular record. Your cross reference history is also having 1 and -1 for both records. Your history is having 1 for that particular record, right? This one will not be there. This will be the state, right?
Hmm.
If there are multiple records, then this will happen. But if there was only one record which was there, then what will happen? Every place it will be -1. So if this was -1, this will be the case. So every place it will be updated as -1. Okay.
Yeah.
Clear?
Got it.
Now, what is the difference between a delete and a purge? A soft deleted record or a deleted record can be recovered back. You can go ahead and make them active again. So you can update the hub state indicator for these records as hub state indicator 1 if you have enabled the state management for those records. So you can go ahead and recover those records again. But if you go ahead and purge means delete from Xref, delete from base object, and create a new entry with -9. And over here also -9. That would be your case. Clear? And once the data is gone into -9, you cannot recover it. Over here, recover means directly go ahead and update the hub state indicator, and your data is directly into your UI with the same row ID object. If you and the recover other way, can you recover the data? You can recover the data from history and cross-reference history. But if you try to add that data back again, then it would be a new record as per MDM because it will have a new row ID object.
Suppose if there were data from multiple source systems in that XRF, and if you're purging it, so in HXRF, you'll be having all those records with hub state indicators -9.
Correct. A purge happens from base object. A purge never happens from cross-reference. A purge always happens from base object.
So in his table, you have that, yeah, obviously in his table, you have the BO record with -9 and XREF. Say if I have two records, there were two records
If
for
you
that
have
record in
10
XREF, those
records,
two records will.
if you have even 10 records, why I'm stating it? Because if your base object is getting purged, so whenever there is a purge happen, it takes the row ID object from base object and deletes all the data from over here. And it will update with -9 of this particular base object, and it will go ahead and takes the data over here, and it will put all those cross-reference records as -9.
It's not like inserting new records, whatever are there in the extra for that particular.
No, it will
update or
insert new
update
records.
it.
It will insert new records with a minus.
Okay.
Because it's history, right? History is always SCD type 2.
Okay, so it will have basically the one the records with the hub state indicator one, it will get end dated, and then the basically the current records would be with -9 in the history tables.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So
And like as you said,
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, just to confirm, so basically purge, as you said, it will get deleted from base object and then basically get removed based on the row ID object from the xref. But in case of other three operations, that is create, update, and soft delete, it happens in xref and then gets reflected in base object.
Update always happens from xref and then goes into base object. But when we talk about a batch which is getting loaded the data, when we say create, always it comes into base object first, and these table cross-reference in a parallel way. And once the data is into them, then the history table will take the data from these and will create. So these two almost work as parallel, but internally, always the data goes into base object and creates into xref. It's a microsecond difference, but it is a difference.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So now all these things are clear that how it actually works. Now, if you have a cross-reference having these kind of hub state indicator, what your base object will be showcasing you. This is a chart for that, a table for that. If your cross-reference is containing one active, one pending, and one -1, your base object will always show 1. Always the positive, maximum positive, unless there is a pending record. Only with a soft deleted. So if there is only one record, so if it is one record, whatever the hub state indicator would be over here, it will be reflected in base object. But if it is with 0 and -1, it will showcase you -1 because it is still in pending. It has not been approved yet. It is not permanent yet, right? So it will be always -1, and in only in this sense. Otherwise, it will be always 1. If you have 1 in your cross reference, it will be always 1. Because your highest trust score doesn't matter at that time because that is deleted. So for MDM, that record values are gone. So it would be like, let's say A trust A, B, C, D.
Okay, got it. It will basically take from the next available
Next
trust.
highest value. Next highest value.
Okay, got it.
So it will be accordingly like this. And over here with the data which we just see, this is a condition before match and after match, how that will be going ahead for row ID xref and row ID object, which we just saw it over here. That how it got updated and all those things. That is a sheet for that, which I had explained earlier on for other people. Okay. So this is what a hub state indicator is. Now coming back to consolidation indicator. So 1 and 2 we are clear, 1, 2 and 4 we are clear, right? But there is one simple, or I would say a rare condition where both the consolidation indicators are 2 and the data becomes duplicate. This is very rare case, once in a blue moon, due to the data not getting updated in correct time or the data issue. this happens. So how these consolidation indicators go ahead and make the row ID object or the record to survive in base object. It's basically simply for that one. So are you good with the consolidation indicators? What are consolidation indicators and what they actually showcase? Are you guys clear on those terms?
Yeah.
Right.
Can you
So
just
now,
once again, sorry, actually, can you just once again tell like difference between the consolidation indicator and the hub state indicator?
okay, consolidation indicator tells you if the record is match and merged, new, or didn't went in, basically updated, or it is waiting for merging, or it is a man in the manual merge. Whereas upstate indicator tells you whether the record is permanent in a deleted form, pending form, or it has been purged.
Okay, okay, clear, yeah.
Good.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no issue.
thank you.
That's why I have this one single session for concept for upstate indicator and consolidation indicator, because I have seen even many people who have been working in MDM, they are not able to find out the issue if they are doing some support project or something. If there is any data issue, they are not able to find out very quickly, because at the end of the day, it is all conceptual. How much your concepts are strong on these certain number of indicators to find out what is the issue. So it's simple that if you are not seeing a data, uh, there are users who are going ahead and stating that we are going ahead and updating the record, but we are not seeing the value which is getting updated in the base object or in the UI. What might be the issue? The trust score might be the issue that you are updating. So first thing we will check is cross reference. Is the data getting updated in cross reference? Yes, that means there is a trust score issue.
So can we select the source, or I mean, in the previous example you pointed out, right? I mean that table
Right.
101, 10 minus 1, then it will be 1. So that minus 1 will be applicable for one particular source, right?
Internal
For
source.
say IDD or something.
Correct.
So whatever we are doing from front end, so that will always go to that IDD entry in
Correct. Internal. Right. But if there is no
yeah, whatever
source which
internal.
is there, so let's say if there is no system 0 which was being there, and then you're trying
Yeah,
to
correct.
delete the record, that record will get deleted from the particular source which is being displayed.
So can we see, or can we select a particular source from this
No,
UI
no.
to soft delete? No. Okay, so so first priority, or the first preference, it will always go to this IDD entry or
Correct.
internal source entry. If it is
Correct.
not there, then
It will
whichever is
take,
the active record or winner source.
correct. It will delete that record.
Okay, I mean whichever is the current active source or the winner source.
Correct.
I'm not sure if my terminologies are right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, your terminology is correct.
Okay.
Okay. So in consolidation indicator, if let's say record 1 and record 2, okay. So these are the two records. When there is 4 and 4, after merge, your consolidation indicator becomes 2 or 1 according to yes or no, which we selected, right? And who will win this particular battle? The record which is having either the maximum trust or the latest value. That particular record will win as the row ID object. All the values will be still going for match and merge and updated accordingly, but the row ID object which will win will be either the highest trust score, or if we are not having the highest trust, then it will be the latest record which will be coming in. Okay, that row ID object we'll be seeing in base object. So if I say base object and cross reference, if I have row ID object 4 and 5 over here also, and row ID object was, let's say, 12 and 13. So if we have a trust score, highest trust score, if we go with trust score like this, then 4 will remain, 5 will get deleted, and this will be updated as 4 in this case. If we, which are, let's say, 4 and 5 with consolidation indicator as 2 and 4, like this was there. So, in cross reference, we don't have a consolidation indicator. So like this we have. Okay. So what happens is your 5, which is 4, will get deleted and 2 will always survive. Okay. If the records are in 3 and 9, those records will not be utilized for match and merge for these merging conditions. This case only happens when there is a data issue and both the records actually went into match and merge after an update. So these two will never merge. 2 with 2 will never merge. 2 with 4 will merge, 4 with 4 and 4 will merge always, but 2 and 2 will never merge. This is a once in a blue moon data issue condition where you'll see duplicate data and not merging. So what you will go ahead and do in this scenario, you will just go ahead, run a update query for updating the consolidation indicator for these two, and then you will go ahead and merge these two records, and afterwards either it will be 4 over here or it will be 5 will win. So you'll go into the backend, you'll run a simple query which is update XYZ table, whatever you have created, set consolidation indicator where row ID object is 4 and 5. Or if you know which particular record you need to merge, only that particular row ID object you will go ahead and state as consolidation indicator as 4. Other one will remain as 2. Then you will run and these two will get merged. Okay. Only in this condition, rare condition, when the data stewards will raise an issue that they are seeing duplicate data, then only you are responsible to run that query. Otherwise, everything is a process, automated process from Informatica. When you run match and merge job, this will automatically be data. Okay.
Okay.
For hub state indicator, either it will be updated via batch, updated via workflow, or if you are not using state management or workflow both, then you will be in the easiest case scenario that always you'll be having a hub state indicator 1. So you don't have to go ahead and do anything. Okay. Are we good on both the indicators? How these works? What are the values? All these things I just went ahead and created. That's why I don't use PPT or something, because I can go ahead and delete and showcase any way which you want.
Yeah, in documentation, at least few examples are explained.
I don't think so. I have to check on those documentation if these things are being explained. If
Mhm.
not, then what we can go ahead and do is whatever we have gone ahead and done, you can go ahead, print screen them in multiple times, or if I'll be having the access of the video, then I can do some print screens from this. I can go ahead, grab snipping tool and all those, and I can put as one of what will happen in that kind. If you guys, that's why I stated, if you want, we can snip out from the recording and we can create a new PDF for that, so that it will explain, it will have a process kind of a thing, stepwise kind of a thing for you guys. Or you can have your this thing in a different way if you want. I can write it down for you guys that in a proper, like I was writing it down, right? The definitions and all in that kind.
Yeah.
But this one you can expect a little bit delay in this, because I have other commitments as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll give it to you in this week itself, but it might take. So I'll go ahead, create for create scenario happen when what management in those situations. I'll create a proper document for you guys. For update, what happens, for delete, what happens in each table, for purge, what happens in each table. So all these sections I'll go ahead and create it for you. And for each, I'll go ahead and put all these four tables and give a proper snippet over there. So that's why it will take a little bit while, if that is fine.